Hey, what is up, you guys? It's Dustin, and I am back with another video. And in this video, I want to react to the canceled podcast that Tana and Brooke just uploaded. Because if I were Brooke, being completely honest, there's no way I would step foot back on that podcast. Tana has zero loyalty to Brooke, and I'm going to say that right off the rip. Now, I get holding your friends accountable and everything, but what Tana did, in my opinion, is completely awful. Tana did shows that she is not really a true friend to Brooke. I have been sent this quite a few times now, so I just decided that I'm going to react to it and see what Tana has to say, see what Brooke has to say. So if you guys are here for that, stay tuned to this video.
Hello and welcome back to the Canceled Podcast. I'm like, do you see her? See, there she is, y'all.
Yeah, squash the rumors. I am not yet kicked off the Canceled Podcast.
Dude, so first of all, I was just in Europe, and a couple days ago, I shot an episode with Paige and Amari, and I said everything that I'm about to re-say again. But then obviously I flew home, and I was like, why am I going to put out another episode that's just going to like fuel these rumors more and like get a bunch more hate?
People
and like
think we're really beefing.
It's weird to me that Tana can't even acknowledge that her uploading that podcast addressing things the way that she did, that could have had a detrimental effect on Brooke. Tana could have addressed this with Brooke in a completely different way, and I think that there would have been a different reaction, and they could have circumvented all this. And in my opinion, what Tana did by running her mouth and getting on there with Paige, it just made her and Brooke look bad. Because people began bringing up Tana's past, and we all know Tana's past. We all know Tana's past. Tana remembers, and I don't understand how she thought she had any kind of place to speak down on what Brooke did. And I'm not excusing what Brooke did in any way. I'm just saying maybe it's the right message, wrong messenger. Maybe if Tana would have actually put a modicum of thought into what she was going to do in handling this situation, it would have turned out differently. But let's see what she has to say for herself.
I mean, obviously that just comes with this whole thing, you know, that people think a bunch of shit that's untrue. But this is definitely one of the heights of that in my entire life. Like just opening my whole phone and every single thing I read about me, you, and us in this podcast just being like the furthest possible thing from the truth. And I can like re-say all of it.
Has Tana not in some way embraced lying? Is that not part of her brand? She faked a whole wedding with Jake Paul for views. So I can only imagine why it would fuel rumors, Tana. Your whole career is built on rumors, drama, and thievery. You are so completely unaware of what your brand is, and that is funny to me, Tana.
All of that. I mean, I was gonna just post that episode, but I felt like talking about it with Paige was kind of like gonna cause the same problem as it did last week.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of issues with Paige. Paige is getting really badly bullied.
It's really frustrating to me because it's like, I thought in the previous episode that I made what I was saying abundantly clear, and not to go like all third person narcissist on you. When has Tana Mongeau ever said anything and made it abundantly clear and it didn't get misconstrued and people completely understood her point and yada yada? Like,
when you said the N-word and got exposed for it, girl, everybody remembers what you said. We remember it loud and clear, girl.
Make some bad points sometimes too.
Hey. But all I was trying to say in that episode was I'm giving Brooke the week. Like, I want Brooke to have the week. Obviously. Yeah. So then Paige subbed in for that episode, and all of the fucking comments are, we want Brooke, you're replacing Brooke, you just jumped ship so fast, yada yada yada. And it was literally just one episode.
Yeah. And I also want to be clear.
But Tana, the way that you did that, the way you went about dragging Brooke, the way you did condemning her, that led people to believe that you were not going to do this tour with her anymore. That led people to believe that you were not going to have her on this podcast anymore. You can't get mad at your followers for assuming what you led them to believe, girl. You said everything but that. Like, let's not forget, this was just a couple weeks ago that you sat down and did this, Tana.
Hello and welcome back to the Canceled Podcast. Obviously, as you guys can see, I am alone on this couch. Brooke is not here with us today, and I want to be abundantly clear that that was my decision. We all saw the tweets, and they're fucked up, and they're horrific, and I'm saying that as a white person, right? Like, I cannot even imagine being a black non-fan or fan and reading those tweets. And I've made it very clear to Brooke as well that I condemn her for these tweets.
It wasn't because the way it sounded was almost like Brooke needs a second, or needs a week. I just wanted to really intake the situation and understand what was happening. and it just didn't feel like appropriate for me to sit down on the couch so soon.
I said this in the episode that we shot, and I'll probably keep referencing that, but I'm just like reiterating how I've been feeling. And call me the fucking villain for saying this, okay? Like, people might not like what I'm going to say right now, but I think that the situation was very much damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, if you and I sat down and filmed an episode and it went out and we were just on the couch talking about anything at all.
Yeah, I think it would have been.
I'm going to tell you right now that I don't believe that Tana actually thinks that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. She was trying to cater to her audience and kiss ass and not be real. She was being fake as fuck when she did what she did. And I might get a lot of flack for this, but I literally do not give a fuck. Unlike Tana, who actually does give a fuck, but wants to pretend that she's damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. If she really had that mindset to begin with, she would have just had Brooke on the podcast and went about her fucking business. Had Brooke apologized, they would have addressed it. And then there wouldn't have been any of this condemning of Brooke, and maybe there wouldn't have been all this hate. Maybe Paige wouldn't have got that hate, Tana. This is so annoying to me because now they're going to try to victimize themselves when literally Tana nor Brooke are victims. The way Tana handled this, she showed me that she does not have the capability of actually being a good friend to anyone. That's just how I feel. Y'all let me know how y'all feel down below. This whole situation really bothered me.
Really distasteful.
So angry at that. So then it's like you film with Paige and people are mad. Like, it was just one of those where I felt like it's like...
Yeah, and we should clarify beforehand.
No,
like, Tana and I, obviously, we were communicating about it. And I told her, I'm like, listen, I understand. You need to say that what I said was wrong. Of course. Because it was. It was so wrong.
And I even said in it, like, I'm not coming at this from a holier-than-thou perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sitting here with the gavel saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, that I get to condemn anyone. But it's like... I don't know.
But that's exactly what you did, Tana.
And I've made it very clear to Brooke as well that I condemn her for these tweets.
That is exactly what you did. You condemn Brooke. You condemned Brooke. That's what you said. That's what came out of your mouth, girl. And I'm telling you right now, I can disagree with my friends. And in the past, I've had to make statements about people that I've been friends with. But I would never get on a podcast this way and just throw my friend to the wolves the way you did. You need to acknowledge and realize that what you did is wrong. And you are partly to blame for the reaction that everybody gave you that you're now sitting here complaining about.
People just took it that way and...
I know. It was just, honestly, a lot. It was a lot of people coming from a lot of different directions, rightfully so. But I did, like, it's a frustrating feeling to feel, like, so misunderstood, especially, like, our dynamic.
I just want to say no one's getting fucking canceled off the Canceled podcast. And I have said this and will always say this. I truly believe that this podcast has amassed the success that it amassed because of our dynamic. That, and forgive me, it's not a word police, but... our dynamic is irrecreatable, and I am not a word, and I'm
but there is a word.
I think what you meant to say is it cannot be duplicated. Tana, to be honest with you, I think that you're entertaining. I like Brooke. She's entertaining. But literally anybody can sit down with their friend and film a podcast and talk about how their man fucked them over or how their friend fucked their man in the other room. You are not curing cancer. You can't even really brush your teeth enough to keep them from falling out, Tana. Let's be fucking for real. But you literally canceled Brooke on the Canceled podcast, and now you're saying that nobody's getting canceled on the podcast. That's not what you were saying when you were talking about shifting the whole podcast, wanting to talk about socio-political things. People do not tune into you and Brooke for that. That is wild as fuck to me. This just tells me that you didn't get the reaction that you thought you were going to get, so now you're changing the whole way you're going about talking about this with Brooke and how you guys are going to proceed. And that is annoying to me.
Word for that, so we got to find it.
And we could, but I just think it's irrecreatable.
I think it's irreplaceable. Wait.
Yes, but like it couldn't be recreated with any other two people.
Okay.
And I'm so well aware of how special that is and what you and I have been through together.
Girl, literally, you live in the time of podcasts with people like Bunny XO, Trisha Paytas, all these different people that make podcasts, and you think that this cannot be recreated. Girl, it's been done. It's been done several times over. I can't tell you by who, but this is not unique in any way at all. I think that Tana may be drinking the same tea that Manny and Laura drink. Like, she's being so crazy and removed from reality right now.
On and off camera, on and off stage, just in life in general, I think most people would fucking blow up in flames. And I think we have somehow come out of it with the strongest trauma bond, sister bond money can buy. And I wish so badly that people didn't do what they do to our relationship online, because it is very highly damaging.
It's hard
to read a million things that aren't true about how, like, the, you know what I mean?
It's
but
weird it's so strange because you almost start to intake it and it like starts to become true, because it's like if I'm reading 1,000 comments that say like Tana hates Brooke, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, Tana hates Brooke.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just not natural. This isn't something that like most it's not
people
that I'm bitching about
through.
it, because it comes with fame, it comes with money, it comes with this shit. I understand that, but I can also recognize that sometimes that is emotionally incredibly difficult to handle.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just one episode, and then I had to fuck off for a second. Like, and I'm really sorry shit's late, but it was that or the ward, folks.
I feel bad that I kind of dragged you back into it, because obviously you've done your whole, you've come back from like all of your scandals and cancellations and stuff, and I feel like I kind of like
I've made apology videos for my apology videos, and I did that too. Yes. And I am fine with doing that for the rest of my life. For everything I have ever said or done wrong, I have apologized for and like will continue to. So there's no blame toward.
Okay, Tana. Moment of truth. Let's be for real. If you're going to address things that you've never addressed, I'm going to say it. This is like the 5th or 6th time I've had to talk about this in a video over the span of the past like 4 fucking years. Address Project 1111, how you were supposedly allegedly helping COVID victims with money and fundraising and things like that. I donated $1 and it ended up in We Are Verified's PayPal. Like, you never addressed this. Nobody ever said that they got any of the money or the funds that you were allegedly taking up to distribute to help people at this time. I will never shut up about that, Tana, until you address it. Since you want to be so transparent and honest with your fucking audience, tell us where that money went. But anyway, girl,
towards you, like, those are still my actions. It's just like,
right. I don't know. Obviously I appreciate everyone who's holding me accountable. I know how horrible it was, you know what I mean? Like, and I knew how horrible it was even before it, blew up in my face. But obviously it's like a just shitty situation, and I felt bad that so many people were hurt by it, but also like I needed to be held accountable. And
obviously how do I say this? Well, I guess what I'm wanting to say is like, I'm fucking proud of you. I think that you like stood at the forefront of all of this, and you are willing to continue to, and you understand that there will be a lot of people that won't forgive you, but you also will never stop trying. And
yeah,
I appreciate that.
I spoke about it a little bit on TikTok, but like there is like honestly a typical like PR formula, obviously, for this kind of situation.
I think this is being a more human.
I did feel like really remorseful, and like it sucks that like, I put out my first apology and it was like so hyper emotional, and I pretty much said all the wrong things, you know what I mean? But it was like, that was truly like my natural reaction, and like everything that has come after that is just like how it's really happened for me. But I don't know, like it didn't make sense for me to just like ignore. Like, I couldn't have ignored it, because it was like I feel so much shame over that already, and I have.
But you know what Tana did, Brooke? She stoked the flames with that podcast that she uploaded with Paige. She could have put a segment at the beginning of that addressing this, maybe a 5-10 minute segment saying, hey, this is what happened. This is how I'm going to address it. We'll have more information about how we're going to proceed later, but at this time, I don't feel like it's appropriate to have Brooke on the podcast this week, and we're going to leave it at that. I think what she said is terrible. I think her tweets are terrible, and then you could have moved on.
I felt shame over that, and like these tweets aren't like something that's new to me. I've known about them, you know what I mean? So it made me feel like just horrible, like, and I wanted to make sure that people knew. And like, of course I know like how much I've changed, and how much like my thought processes like have changed since I've grown up and got away from Arizona and my family and stuff, and like I can't expect everybody else to know that. But
I said this on the podcast with Paige, but like, I went to your apartment a couple weeks ago, and there was a stack of books up to the size of my head on you continuing to want to do research, and I'm seeing all of the active things you're doing behind the scenes. So I know that. And like I said in the last episode, the Brooke that I have known is not that person, but acknowledging that there's always more growth to be done is beautiful. And
I think sometimes too, there's like a lot of shame sometimes, like to be ignorant. Like, sometimes people don't want to ask questions and stuff because they feel like it's like, oh, you're too old to not know this. But like, obviously, like, there, I was a Republican or whatever. Like, I didn't know anything about politics until I was like an adult. You know what I mean? I didn't know anything about what I was talking about, but I wanted people to think I knew what I was talking about.
I really like how Brooke says the word Republican like it's a dirty word. Like, you're not free to be affiliated with any political party that you so choose. And I'm not going to get into politics on my channel like that, but what I don't like is everything being politicized or making excuses about being affiliated with the Republican Party as if that's some kind of bad thing. There's bad Democrats too. There's bad on both sides, Brooke. And that is all I'm going to say about that. Go vote for whoever you want to vote for in November. Everybody should vote. I'm just saying, do your research.
Me every day.
That's and that's the thing. It's like it comes down like to what, like a common theme on Canceled anyway is just like my need for validation and attention and people to think I'm smart and you know what I mean. So like that was like kind of what it all stemmed from. And like I didn't just now start doing the work. You know what I mean? I've learned so much like in the time, especially since I've been in LA. Because obviously like I'm ashamed that it took me that long, and like I was like an adult when I really started to like open my like or understand everybody's different perspectives, but I did. And so, you know, that's just the honest truth.
Well, listen, again, I feel like I've said all of this, but I will always love you. And I think that everything I've seen off camera, I think that you are taking the proper steps and not trying to just flaunt it for TikTok and the podcast as well, which I really respect. And I'm excited.
I love that Brooke didn't let this get her down. I just don't understand what people expected from her. Did you want her to be sad on the internet all day, crying, bawling her eyes out, and you wanted her to make TikToks and post Instagram stories of that? Like, if somebody gets canceled, if they acknowledge it and they admit what they did is wrong, you should watch their behavior from that point on. You should not want them to feel horrible. You shouldn't wish bad on them. If anything, you should wish them good in hopes that they'll see what they did is wrong and change their ways.
Excited to have you back on this couch. And I think had we done it when I sat down with Paige, that would have been a whole different Armageddon. And I also just have a lot to say about the hate towards Paige and women in general on the internet right now in a second, and my thoughts on that and some things that I feel like I've learned in the past couple weeks that I don't necessarily think I was thinking about before all of this. But I'm just happy to have you back on this couch, and
I'm happy to be back. And I just want to like, there's no, I said this on TikTok also, but like, there's no definitive end. Like, there's no like time when you just know everything that you know. So obviously there's things like I'm going to continue learning down the line, and I have learned, and you know what I mean? It's like, there's always going to be more. And I, of course, am doing it. And again, like you said, I don't want it to to seem like I'm doing it because I got caught or because I got canceled. Like, I really truly like, I had like so many people who were so helpful to me and like explained their experiences like from their end and stuff, and it was eye-opening. It was like, it was special. And I don't know, I do feel like there's a lot that I've learned from this situation, and it makes me think very, very differently.
And
Good.
We are more than friends.
We are friends.
God damn it. It's also just, I was saying this to Paige as well, but even just on the level of hate that she received for sitting in on one episode on her character when like she is a good person and always has been, and we have
she just has to show, you know what I mean? She just has to do what she has to do. Like, it wasn't.
Can we just all agree that we should stop giving a single fuck what people think? As long as you're not hurting people, as long as you're not harming people, as long as you're not doing awful, terrible things, I literally do not give a shit what anybody is doing. I don't, especially strangers that I don't know on the internet. Like, if people want to hate on me, if people want to leave me hate comments, I do not give a fuck. Feel free to hate on me, because at the end of the day, that is just engagement. And these two already get enough engagement anyway. Why the fuck do you care? Why do you care? Do you think if I had a net worth of what Tana has, I would give a single fuck? No. But I also wouldn't be doing the things that Tana and Brooke do either. If you are going to do social media, you need to not give a fuck what people think. You need to not give a fuck what people say, because at the end of the day, you just have to answer for what you did, what you said. And I think everybody was right to hold Brooke accountable. That whole shit with Tana saying Brooke needs to heal, that got on my nerves so motherfucking bad, because literally neither one of them are victims.
But even
like coming at her like she's like a fame monster. Like, if she wanted the fucking fame, she would have gotten it year one. Like, she's been working for me behind the scenes for years, 3 years. And anyone who knows her knows she's not that kind of person.
And Paige is the funniest, smartest like person literally alive. I love Paige so much.
She's never done a wrong thing in her life.
It was kind of frustrating too, because, you know.
I hope that we never have to come back to this moment, because when you say things like that, you are literally opening yourself up for it. I feel like in the next 6 months, if something happens and this progresses with this shit with Brooke and people get pissed off at her again, or something comes out about Tana and they have to rework this, people are going to start digging on Paige, and guess what? They're going to find something. And you know what's going to be there? This bit of Tana saying that she ain't never done nothing bad in her life. Do you know how many times I've thought that about people and then I found out that they were horrible pieces of shit? All the fucking time. I met a demon that walks around with purple hair that continually tries to ruin my life every fucking day. And I met that piece of shit here on this internet. And I thought that person was my best friend.
Like trying to pin us against each other, like make it seem like we didn't like each other. Paige and I are so close. Like
I was also saying, like, and I feel like I've been doing this a lot lately, but like, think about when George and Mike and Logan had that huge fallout. No one's attacking people's looks. No one's like coming at people's necks like that. Like, it's just like, even the amount of shit, like, Brooke, I opened my DMs one day and there were like 100 DMs that were like, you kicked Brooke off the podcast, that's why you're fatter than she is. Or like,
and honestly, if somebody's saying that to you, they're probably a fucking child, because there's not anybody over the age of maybe 14 that's going to say no dumb shit like that. Tana, you as an adult, I think you're what, 24, 25, 26 now at this point. Why the fuck do you care if somebody on the internet is calling you fat? You're clearly not fat. And if you were, you have the money to change that about yourself. Honestly, watching this video, if there was a 14 or 15-year-old that called you fat, would you give a fuck? Let me know in the comments, because I literally do not give a fuck about the opinions anybody has about me, but especially from children. Tana, you need to grow up. If that hurts your feelings, girl, you are in the wrong line of fucking word.
Like, I'm going through my fucking For You page and it's like, well, now that everyone's hating on Brooke, we can say we hate slick back buns. And it looks like, and it's like, this is not what the conversation is about. And this would never fucking happen if we were two men. And like, even just seeing all this shit with the like redhead bitch right now on TikTok, it's like, once a proper take on someone's wrongdoing has gone viral, or 10 proper takes,
it invites everybody to do just whatever they want.
And it opens these doors for so much.
No, literally, you being a public figure opens the door to people criticizing you. That's what it is. It doesn't take somebody having a right take about you. It doesn't take somebody having a wrong take about you. You uploading to the internet, consistently being a public figure, doing events, doing press, that makes you open to criticism. I'm not saying that the criticism is right, and I'm not saying that the things people say are okay, but that is part of this. And you accepted that when you started getting checks for doing this, when you sat down and exposed people. You can't talk about people in events without people talking about you. And that is exactly what Tana and Brooke do on this podcast. They expose people, they expose things about people, so they have to expect that kind of shit in return. This is what they signed up for. I'm not saying the extremes of it, but part of being a YouTuber, part of being an internet celebrity is having people criticize you. Unfortunately, that's part of the gig, and we all deal with it.
Much hate that no longer has anything to do with what the real conversation was about, and it's so many people like bandwagoning shit just to bandwagon shit. And it's like, I've never had disdain for it. I think I've been a part of that problem up until right now.
So that's what I was just gonna say. I was like, because I experienced it obviously with my Clinton series, because obviously I do a 14-part series. It gets like 200 million views, and now there's tens of thousands of videos about how he's hideous and he has shark teeth. They're like, what
did you expect people to say, girl? You dragged him across the internet, and he is not a conventionally attractive person. He looks like he has gingivitis, to be honest. I'm shocked that you even dated him, girl. Clinton Kane, let's be for real. I don't care how you feel about what I'm about to say. Clinton Kane is ugly, and I get that beauty is subjective, but he is subjectively ugly to many people.
Like, whatever it is. But it's like, it's horrible, because it's like, that wasn't the point and that wasn't the problem. And
even
as much
with like
as
the Alyssa shit, like, I had my take. I still stand by those beliefs. Once everyone else has had, there's been a viral take or 10 about it. Like, there's just a point where I'm just like, even with like the Blake Lively shit, it's like, Blake Lively's obviously wrong as fuck. Like, I like your bump. That shit made me need a bump. Like that shit
Yeah.
was so fucking awful. Sorry, bad cocaine joke. Kidding. Not on cocaine.
Wait, I didn't get it at first.
And that's what's so crazy to me. Tana makes jokes like that all the motherfucking time. And if she was getting these comments that she says were hateful about Brooke and how she's fat and all that, and it sounded like it was coming from kids, chances are Tana's demographic is still just kids watching her and she's making these jokes. And I remember just recently she was joking about black tar heroin. Is that funny? Is that something we should be making jokes about? I get it. I sound like an old person, but like really, truthfully, I don't think that that's a good thing.
Did you see him?
It was just a joke. But like, it's like eventually Blake is either going to see these takes or not. And like, just the way society isn't moving on with like hate to women as of late.
I know, but I also
like,
don't want to make it like we are the victims because, well, especially in this
I don't mean
episode.
us.
I know, but I'm just to be clear.
Yeah.
I know that I am not the victim in this situation.
I'm not saying that. I'm really not saying that. I think I just...
But it is, things happen differently for men than they do for women.
I just don't want to be a part of a bigger problem.
Well,
obviously,
we have been a part of the bigger problem, so that's a conversation to have. We were being the accountability police.
Yeah.
For, like, we were just really going high and mighty, just canceling people left and right.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Like, I do still think
You're right. 3 lefts do.
all of those things are true. In the episode with Paige, I essentially said, like, this podcast reaches so many people to the point that I do want to recognize that and use it for better.
Yeah.
And people took that and ran like, no, we just want to hear about your lives. Like, don't become some woke podcast, some this, some that. That's not what I'm saying. I just think there's
they don't want to hear that from us, but it is like we have like a cool opportunity because like we reach so many girls. Like, I mean, obviously more than just girls, but like
young girls, gays and theys, young people.
And
and it's
with
like
that level of influence, like we should be trying to at least like do something right,
better. And I think
not be bullies.
I think it's like expressing things that happen to you or
That is wild as fuck to me because, Brooke, let's be honest, you canceled the absolute fuck out of Clinton Kane. Every single video that you posted over on TikTok about him went viral. You yourself said you got 200+ million views on that series. And let's be honest, there were so many videos made off of that, and you were in the comments in a lot of them throwing shade at Clinton Kane. But now you want to talk about bullying, girl. You and Tana want to talk about how you're going to change your ways or whatever. People aren't tuning into you for that.
commenting on some wrongdoing, okay, but I think that in my opinion, we definitely teetered over the line, especially with the like Alyssa and Clinton shit.
Yeah.
And I want to dial it back a bit. And that was kind of my point in the Paige episode, and people took it as like, this is going to be the new CNN, and obviously that's not what I meant.
It does bother me, like, and I, like, who is it, Brett Newstrom? He honestly had a good take about it. It's like these girls just bully, and it's like I don't feel like anyone who actually watches Canceled, I don't think that that's what they would take from it because like it really hasn't been.
It's just if you
it's
see,
not
like,
like we
the
just
viral
get on here.
clips.
That's not the concept of the Canceled podcast. We don't just get on here and cancel people.
Okay, listen, I am not defending one person or the other, right? I do think that Alyssa Violet was being a mean, nasty bitch, but I also think that maybe Tana can be a very mean, nasty bitch, and Brooke can probably be a mean, nasty bitch.
Yes, it has happened a couple times lately and they've been big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's never been the nature of our show and it's not going to be in the future. We're not like, I don't think we're like just these mean girls, but to your point, if someone does me like really fucking dirty or does me wrong, I'm going to talk about like, you don't,
Fair.
I have a microphone in front of me once a week.
I just think that there's like, I know my character. I know I'm not a fucking mean girl to anyone that I ever come across in my life ever, but I can see how trying to be the cancellation police could be misconstrued as that. And again, it's not that I'm changing the entire format of this show, but I'm definitely going to dial it back and use it for a little more good and like be more mindful of lobbying hate.
I just also think like we have more potential than that. Like, I don't think we have to like
rely on that.
Yeah. Come for people to have
So it's okay when they cause people to get hate, but when Brooke or Tana get canceled, they don't want to do that no more. They don't want to spread hate. They don't want to do all that. They're going to step back and be more mindful of what they say and do on their podcast. Right. Whatever. I'll see you next cancellation. I don't want to listen to any more of this. I want to know what you guys think about this down below. I'm still going to tune into the podcast because you guys know I love minding other people's business. And I want to see how this is going to progress. I want to see how they're going to change and be mindful of things and not cancel people while talking about canceling people. I think it'll be really interesting to see how they're going to move forward. But if you made it this far in this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe, and leave me the clown emoji down below, because like this whole take, this got on my nerves. This got on my nerves really, really bad, because they dragged this out longer than it had to be dragged out. If Tana didn't address this the way she did in the first place, I don't think this situation would have ever gotten as big as it did. But that's just my opinion. You guys let me know yours down below. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.